Hey everybody, this is Sid Sexton and my good friend Keith Glines with the Overlap Podcast. And the Overlap Podcast is where we discuss the overlaps between family, fitness, business, parenting, management, and really discussing about the concept that there's no compartmentalization in life. Let me say that again. No compartmentalization in life. Getting better in one aspect of life really does contribute to being better in other aspects of your life, because how you show up for the workout is how you're probably going to show up for work, and how you show up for work is probably how you're going to show up at home and all throughout the overlaps within your life. And this morning we got a new podcast for you, and we aren't even actually sure if this was going to be a short one or a long one. As we were laying it out, we've been really talking about this subject, this concept, for a couple of months now, and that's probably how we operate, is we let ideas marinate until they get to a boil, to the point where we're like, yeah, we need to talk about it. Because I think one of the main things we're trying to do with this podcast is to utilize real concepts that we are trying to implement in our life and our business to help you shorten or flatten the learning curve, to help you overcome some obstacles that we are having. And we have the mindset that if we're having those issues, you probably are too. So we've been talking about this concept, and Keith and I are trying to set ourselves up for next year. We've got goals, we've got desires and things like that. But in order to do that, we've got to figure some things out to try to get to the goals that we're trying to set for 2024. And that gets us, I'm trying to set the stage for Keith to take over for the concept we have today. Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Sid.
Number one, I am not sick, but my voice sounds crazy.
I know
week.
you're a little raspy. Have you been
like
wooing Jordan at home with that voice?
No, I haven't been smoking cigars or anything.
I did. I smoked a cigar last night.
I figured
it was super nice.
It's cool outside.
It was, and then I woke up and it was hot this morning.
It was kind of warm. Yeah.
It was very muggy. But this topic we've touched on it a bunch.
Yeah, we have.
Well, right seat on the bus. Wrong seat on the bus. I don't care what you call it, but you could also call this little series of podcasts we've gone into, at least the last two, the Den Sullivan Hour or something.
Yeah, probably.
He's got some pretty good inspiration for us. We're inspired by him right now. The last podcast we just dropped was 10x is better than 2x.
Easier.
And
better, probably better.
And better. Yeah, I'd like 10x better.
Yeah.
And then, so today we're going to talk about who, not how.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we were talking earlier, I think everyone starts with the how, and maybe we need to re-engineer that in our businesses.
So the concept, even the statement, it's who, not how, seems so simple that it's easy for me. And if I'm saying, and what I'm really doing when I'm talking on this podcast, I'm talking to me, whether that's a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm saying, slow down. Who, not how. You automatically think you understand it, but there's way more deeper meaning to it. Just like 10x is easier than 2x. It's a pithy little throwaway sounding title, but there's deep meaning to it in who, not how. And like you said, this is counterintuitive. We always want to start with the how, right?
Think about every business meeting we sit in. We go in and we say this.
Yeah.
How are we going to do this?
It's all tactical.
All tactical.
It's all tactics. It's blocking and tackling. It's this equals that, and then you do this, and then this thing is that thing, and this, and then there we go. Now we have pragmatically designed the path to get us where we're going.
We think. And we never ask ourselves, do we actually have the who's that can pull this off?
That's really the deal. And so
that's been my story this year.
Hey, it's really my story forever.
Right.
When I'm missing, lots of times it's just the wrong who's, and I haven't thought about who's enough. And before I was introduced to this book, I got to say that I had an inkling that this was the issue, but I couldn't quite formulate it as well as Dan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy were pulling it together. It really solidified my concept, because here was my thought all the time. I'm like, man, if I'm thinking about this person after hours and a good amount. They're taking a lot of my mental energy. I probably don't have enough trust in them. And then I start asking myself, why do I not have enough trust in them? They probably aren't the right person to execute the job that I'm trying to get them to do. And that is where I'm trying to get to. Them executing their job gets me to, and the company, to where we're trying to go for that quarter, that year, that whatever.
I could tell you a 20-year story of me trying to see potential in people that have none.
Oof, that's tough. Ouch.
In the thing I'm asking them to, not that they don't have potential for the world or contribute to the world, but a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we try to have optimism about our current team.
Yeah. I would say that's and not to cut you off and keep rolling with that, but just so the audience hears, entrepreneurs are just inherently overly optimistic.
Right. And so I can tell you a 20-year story of being in business, of being overly optimistic that I have, and it's more of a pride thing for me, that I've put together the right team to do the new product or service that I'm providing.
Yeah.
And I get 6 months into it and think, what's the problem here? This product's a great product.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. And I was actually going to save this for the end, but this is probably the appropriate time to do it. So if you're listening, I'm asking Keith the same question, but I'm probably asking you this too, Brian Hodges. Are you overly optimistic about your personnel, your team, because you want them to do well and you see it in them? Or are you abdicating your responsibility of finding the right person for that, and you're just checking that box saying, yeah, that team member's there and they can do it, and then moving on to the next thing that you really like to do?
I got the answer for me.
Okay, what is it?
I just don't want to put in the work to find the who.
Man, I think it's me too. If I'm honest with you and I'm honest with the audience, I think a lot of times, and I would venture to say 80% of the time, I mask my abdication of responsibility of finding the right who with the overly personnel driven, we're a leadership organization and I'm trying to give them an opportunity to lead this project when I know that they can't actually do it. Not that I know, but I got a real strong feeling that they can't do it. So I don't backfill that with safeguards. I don't really vet it very well. I'm getting way better at this, but I'm just broad generalizations. I'm just thinking that most of the time, the who issues, I want it to be their fault, but it's really my fault.
I also think that we, as people in business thinking, those of us with podcasts that are shouting to the world, automate, delegate. There's certain things in our organizations that we can't.
Yeah.
Self-managing companies. The only way to get a self-managing company is for you to do the work up front to determine what you really need in the moment that you really need it, and build the base that you need to build to create a self-managing company.
There's a lot of work in that. And I think that we get distracted. I get distracted. Two, I might get a little bored. I don't know. I'm chasing shinier objects, and I'm learning after 20 years of slowing down and finding the right who is way more important than checking the box and putting someone in that seat that's serviceable.
I think I'm getting better at that too, and I don't want to sound like a downer here.
Okay.
But I think I'm learning not to be so optimistic about the abilities of the team members that I have to push my organization forward.
Fair enough.
And that I'm taking more responsibility when I say, hey, you keep doing exactly what you're doing and what you were hired to do in the first place, and let me be the creative one.
Yeah. Let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Chris Drogmiller. He's with CMD Fencing. One, I really appreciate his support to the podcast. He listens to the podcast, but long before that, he has done several projects for me at my home, at our business, and the dude just does an awesome job. One of the things I really like about him is it's basically just him and someone that helps him. His attention to detail is phenomenal. The work is always high quality. If you've ever had a fence built, you know that the gate itself and how it opens and shuts is kind of the stamp of quality. It always works well. I've made him make some interesting kind of fencing where it's all horizontal. He had no problems with that, did a great job. And the guy is freaking awesome. He's easy to work with and he does a fantastic job. He's a firefighter, so, he works 2 days on and 2 days off. So he comes in and knocks my project out on the days that he's off. And the dude's awesome. You can find him on our website, overlaplife.com. You can find him on Facebook, CMD Fencing. And his phone number is 901-484-5546. So if you need a fence, need some fence work, call Chris Drogmiller, CMD Fencing. And I think that's all part of the maturation process of running a business and trying to figure things out.
God, I wish I would have happened a little earlier.
Yeah, you and me both.
We're saving you.
I wish I would have started training jiu-jitsu a little bit earlier, at age 20.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, we're going to save you a bunch of time if you just listen to this process.
And this is what I said at the beginning, man. That's our whole goal, is take the concepts that we are learning, we're working on, and get them to you in relatively real time. Let them marinate enough that we feel like it's a good enough concept that it's not totally kooky, and then get it out there to you as a local, regional, semi-national, Keith would say international, because we do have some international listeners, but I'm really speaking to the small business owner, the operator, the leader. If you're a COO or you're a foreman, you can get better at listening to this and this concept. Who, not how, is really a concept that discusses the limitations of the traditional how mindset, and I'm putting in my finger quotes, where individuals feel they must figure out I'm going to say individuals. Instead of that, I'm going to say leaders, owners, operators feel they must figure out every step and detail of a project on their own. This approach can lead to burnout, overwhelm, and limited growth. It really does lead to limited growth. And really, Dan Sullivan talks about embracing the who, not how mindset is key to breaking through these barriers and achieving exponential results. I think that sets the stage. And if you listen to that, you're probably going, ooh, that's interesting. That's pretty good.
Right now, as we speak, I'm going through this exact thing where one of my team members is super burned out because I placed obligations on them that was not in their unique ability.
Yeah. I will say I can remember, and the last podcast we went over 10x is easier than 2x, and then in one of the chapters it really talks about you've done 10x before, just your 10x history, right? My 10x history was when I started to figure out that I don't need to be the one that does everything, because I was getting super burnout, just agitated at life. I thought I needed to be everything to everyone. I thought that my customers really needed to work with me directly, but then I had to manage every team member directly. I needed to manage the books directly. I needed to select everything. And I started getting super burnt out, and I started to figure out how to delegate, how to elevate. And I didn't even have that verbiage at the time, but starting to get some who's on board really started to eliminate my burnout, my overwhelm, and it really caused exponential growth at that point. So it's happened before for me. I'm just at another point now that need to elevate that game.
Right. And what I guess I'm trying to say is that as you learn to elevate and delegate, that we can burn out our team members really fast.
Oh, yeah.
If we try to delegate too much and outside of their unique abilities. So we better understand, and I think what Who Not How has shown me going through the book is that you better find the who.
Yeah.
and not just try to automate, delegate, elevate. Sometimes you have to go outside. Sometimes you have to bring someone in new.
Yeah,
and I know you
yeah.
just kind of did that.
Yeah, man, dude. It's amazing what the who will do to your organization. It has caused me to work a lot more than I'm used to. But,
I know. I've been seeing that.
But we're laying the foundation. And right now, let me just pause real quick. We're talking about a book called, and I didn't set that up very well. We're talking about the book, Who, Not How. There's lots of concepts in this all around that, but it's really based on the book with Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy, Who, Not How. So go get the book. We'll have a link to that in our show notes. By the way, if you buy something through our website or through our show notes, we do get a little bit of piece, and that does help support the podcast. So if you're going to buy the book, please go through that mechanism, and I think we get 50 cents or something if you buy it.
It'll pay for
and it costs a little more than 50 cents for us to edit this deal, so help us out. But one of the cool concepts in this book is the entrepreneurial quicksand, where individuals find themselves getting stuck in tasks that do not leverage their unique abilities and strengths. By focusing, and this is what you were talking about, on their unique ability, the activities they excel at and enjoy the most, entrepreneurs can escape the quicksand and accelerate their progress towards their goals. I wrote the note on here too. It's like an energy audit. You ever heard of an energy audit?
I have, yeah.
Okay. And I've done this with a couple of direct reports, and especially the ones that are a little higher and they've got a lot of people reporting to them, or they got a lot of responsibility. They're inevitably going to start getting burned out and overwhelmed, like you said. And they might still be the right who. They just need a little coaching. So we'll go through an energy audit and we'll go, it's just like delegate and elevate. But let's write down 5 things that you love doing. What are some things about work that you really enjoy? And we'll write those down and we'll go, okay, is that something that only you need to do? Can you over-index into that? And then what are all the other things that need to happen? Can we find someone that really loves doing that? And so an energy audit, and we just try to stay in that energy propelling roles. And it might just be design work. It might be, in your world, I don't know who would love to edit audio, but maybe that's someone that just loves grinding away. I got a girl that loves to sit in the office in the dark and just enter in data. Loves it. Lives for it. Does not want to get out of that and go meet with customers or talk to people or anything else. I would have never known that if I didn't really ask those questions and put her in that role, because that's what she really likes. Crazy. Energy audit, same thing as delegate.
So Dr. Ben Hardy talks about that in 10X is easier than 2X a lot. He talks about, I don't know if you remember the story, about his personal assistant, how they went through as his organization began to grow. And this is where I failed a bunch, is taking my team members as I've grown and say, let me take that from you. Here, what do you love here? Now, let's let you be more efficient in those things, and let's bring in someone to take away the stuff that you don't particularly enjoy.
Yep. And if
don't thrive in.
If you're operating on EOS, it's the same thing. It's a delegate and elevate exercise, right. And you got to recognize that your direct report or yourself is getting overwhelmed, and you got to do something, whether it's an energy audit or a delegate and elevate exercise. You got to have some mechanism to get you focused on what your unique abilities are and your talents and what you really like doing.
But I like that term that he uses, talking about unique ability in the entrepreneurial quicksand.
Yeah. Entrepreneurial quicksand is a real deal, dude.
Man, I've been there.
Because you think, oh, this is my business. I call it the icon syndrome. You ever heard me say that? Mm-hmm. Hell, I was telling Chris that this morning. Icon syndrome. You think that your customer is buying you. They're not. They're just buying a solution to their problem. They really do have a lot of trust in you that you are going to solve their problem. But if you put your trust in someone else and give a good handoff that, hey, you've trusted me, but now Keith has taken over this role. I promise you, I've trained him and he is going to give you excellent service. 99% of your customers are just going to be okay with that, because all they want is a solution to their problem. You don't have to get bogged down in doing that. And really all that is ego. There's all kinds of other aspects there. That's not the only thing in entrepreneurial quicksand, but that's a big one in my opinion.
I used to hold on to things for ego's sake.
Yeah.
But I've caught myself lately delegating things for ego's sake too. Just saying some of the things we probably don't need to delegate that we just say, I'm a visionary.
Yeah.
I've caught myself. That's the only thing.
The pendulum can swing.
Yeah, it can definitely swing.
Hey there. My good friend Steve Bousquet and his partner, Christine Era, the owners of Green Profit Academy, are super excited about a new product they've got coming out. If you didn't know, they're the authors of Profit First for the Lawn Care Business. And it's a book written by Christine Era. Steve plays a big role in sort of adding to that. But they've got that book. It's already out. But if you're an audiobook listener and you just learn better by listening, they've got the audio version coming out. And I think this is really cool. They've got Christine Era narrating the audiobook, and she does a really good job. I've heard some clips of it. It's pretty fantastic. And Mike Michalowicz, the original author of Profit First, he reads the foreword. And so they've got a book launch that's going to come out on their website, Green Profit Academy, and you should stay tuned for more information about that. They're going to have some giveaways. They're going to have some other special deals going on. But the book itself, the audio book, will come out September 12th. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you need some help with Profit First for your green industry business, please give them a call or look them up, Green Profit Academy. Thanks so much.
But I like the energy audit thing too. Have you ever called the power company and said, hey, can you come look at my meter?
Yeah.
I think you read it wrong.
Yeah, or what's going on here?
Yeah. So I've done that. Like, you can call your power company. I just learned this a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Because our power bill was really super high. And I didn't realize you could say, hey, did you even send someone out to read the meter?
And so what'd they say?
And so they said, no, we didn't. We
went off of average.
We just went off of average.
Yeah.
Then come out here and read it. And so a lot of times we need to do that with our team members.
Dang, that's crazy. I didn't know about that.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of times they don't come read it. Like, the power company don't send every month someone to come out. If you've used that last month,
like a reporting system that sends something out.
It may be, but they can come read
at your
it
place.
now.
It might be a little more rural.
Yeah, I live on a farm.
Yeah. The other one is the abundance of talented individuals and teams available to help entrepreneurs achieve their goals. There's an abundance of talent in there. You're just not tapping into it. They emphasize that finding the right who's is not about outsourcing or delegating tasks, but about building powerful collaborations with individuals whose unique abilities complement one's own. That's what they're really saying. That's what they're saying in a fancy way, what you and I were saying, that sometimes you got to go outside your organization, or sometimes you just got to figure out what the talents you've got inside your organization and put them in the right seat.
I think this would be a little harder for you. It's easy for me to collaborate with you.
Sure.
Because I produce intellectual property most of the time, right? I think it would be harder for you to call somebody up and say, how do I collaborate with, especially in the services industry?
Yeah.
I think this may be a little harder to walk through about collaboration.
Yeah, we need a lot of doers. We need a lot of doers that just doing tasks. But we've got a lot of folks that I need folks that just want to lead people, that want to keep trains running on time. They want to get to work early and make sure the guys have all the tools they need to get their job done. We need some folks that just want to work on equipment and get it turned around quickly or keep it running. And I need folks that just meeting with customers and serving them. You're probably right, but there's still a lot of overlaps and a lot of opportunity to put the right talent in the right seat. And I think that's what they're talking about.
I like how the three mindsets that can lead to effective collaboration.
Hey, guys, we actually have outlines and bullet points and we do like a brainstorming session and we throw it up on the screen. Today, by the way, we are not doing video because the podcast studio is under construction, so you don't get to...
we got some new equipment coming.
Keith actually looked pretty today. He did his hair.
I wore my cricket shirt.
You
God,
did.
I love these shirts.
It's a great shirt. I like the yellow one too. I thought we were on video, so I took a shower and I don't have a black eye, so that's good. But yeah, so 3 mindsets that can lead to effective collaboration.
I'm going to take a picture of us before we leave, just so we can put it out and show that we look good today.
Yeah.
And maybe Cricket will sponsor us.
Maybe Cricket will. I'm hoping Melon will.
Yeah.
Superhero. So one of the 3 mindsets, or the 3 mindsets, are as such: the superhero, the rugged individualist, and the multiplier. Dan and Benjamin Hardy explore the benefits and limitations of each mindset and advocate for adopting the multiplier mindset, which is characterized by a focus on leveraging the strengths of others to achieve greater results. Now, what were your thoughts on that?
I think I try to be the superhero a lot.
I think lots of people do try to be the superhero. I think it's ego-based.
Absolutely.
Because everyone likes to... I called them superheroes. I've called them mother hens, too, where they want control of everything. They want to be lauded for how much they do and how much they help others and how much everything runs through them. But it ends up being, which is how they probably got to be in the position that you get to be in the position that you are. But you got to be able to shift gears to serving others and helping others be successful to really advance.
I think age did that for me.
Okay.
Let me see. I think early on in my business, I wanted to be known. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be known as this great creator, or that I was making a difference. Now I really don't care.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I know what you're saying, but I think you're also saying this. I think this would be true too. I know you well enough and long enough that I'll interpret this for the audience. What you're really saying is now you still want to make an impact. You just don't need the recognition for it.
Exactly.
And I'm with you. I'm real happy to be in the background. I'm real happy to elevate others and to help them become successful in their endeavors and help them grow to become effective leaders. And so they can have an impact on their teams, they can have an impact with their clients, they can have an impact in their community. And it really stems from the statement, God, what's his name? As soon as I say it, you'll remember. But he said, you can have anything you want in life if you help others get what they want in life.
That's Zig.
Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, man. And
that has rung true in my life.
As I've gotten older, I really think, like, I don't want my name anywhere.
Yeah.
I want people to get the credit for the hard work that they do in my organization versus me.
Yeah.
I'd much rather someone else get the accolade than me getting an accolade.
Yeah.
And maybe because I've been there and I've gotten them and they're not as fulfilling as you think they would be.
Well, yeah.
But when I see someone light up from achieving something that they feel good about, it does way more for me.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this on this podcast before, but here we go again. I got to a certain point in the business and had made it through some obstacles and got to, it hit me that I was at a certain level that in the landscape world, which isn't a big world or whatever, and it's really not much of anything, but it got to a level that I was like, whoa, this is way beyond what I ever thought that I would get to when I started out. And then I really started having those thoughts about what's this all for? And then it started to shift, man. I'm here to help the guy or girl that likes to be in the landscape industry have a career out of the landscape industry. And then when you're in the gym, I'm here to help the guy or the girl that wants to have a career or good extra income or have impact on others, have a career or impact on others in the fitness industry. And then I'm here to help maybe some Brazilians get out of Brazil and have an impact in the world through the sport and the art of jiu-jitsu. I'm here to help others, and so I'm happy to be in the background. I'm happy to facilitate that. I'm happy to make that stuff happen and not be the front. There's lots of people that can come to RX Sport Fit and have probably for a long time and never know that Scott and I own it.
Oh, all
you
the
know
time.
what I'm saying?
It's amazing all the time, the people that come and talk to me about, you guys just hang out at the gym all day.
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't. I'm there, but I don't hang out there all day.
Yeah.
I just come at off hours sometimes. But those are the mindsets. The superhero is what we started that tangent on, and I think that's real prevalent because especially in trades, because the harder you work and the more you get done is really where you get recognized, and then you get elevated to management or leadership, and you got to be able to shift out of that, and some people can and some people can't.
Oh, yeah, it's a badge of honor.
The rugged individualist is another one that they're just the maverick. And it's tough to elevate into a leader position if you just want to work by yourself. But there's some opportunities for you. If maybe you need in your world just a rugged individualist to sit over there and do their one sole thing. I need teams. I need team members.
Yeah. I need collaboration.
Collaborators.
I need collaborators.
Yeah.
That's where I thrive is when I see other people accomplishing great stuff that maybe I had some little bit of something to do with creating the idea.
Yeah, man.
And then seeing that, right now I'm so blessed because I'm getting to see an idea I had come to fruition. I got to see it on paper for the first time yesterday or on the computer screen. And it's a piece of software I'm working on. And I haven't touched any, it was my idea. I haven't touched any of it. And just by me being able to say that, here's my idea, take it and run with it. These people have taken it and made it way better than I ever could have by myself.
Look, not all of you have to deal with workman's comp, but those of you that do know that it's time-consuming and it's a headache. Insurance in general feels like something that happens to you rather than for you. But partnering with someone that really knows their stuff, like Chris May, with LTN Insurance, you've heard him before on the podcast, offers you the opportunity to regain control of your insurance. By collaborating with Chris, you have the chance to craft a personalized plan that ensures you receive optimal coverage at the best price. At LTN Insurance, their foremost core value is centered on education rather than sales. Their core value actually says, we don't sell, we educate, because they truly believe in empowering you, the customer, with the knowledge to make informed decisions about your insurance. That's whether you do business with them or not. They want you to be informed. So you can trust Chris and look him up, give him a call, or go to the website ltninsurance.com.
And that's what I was going to talk about at the end whenever we close out. But let's keep moving forward with the other concepts that we've got here that we've extrapolated out of this book. And then the next one is the 4 essential elements of unique ability teamwork. Let me repeat that again because I'm not sure I said that just real clear. There's 4 essential elements of unique ability teamwork. Those 4 essential elements are contribution, capability, commitment, and compatibility. The authors explain how these elements contribute to successful collaborations and outline practical steps for identifying and working with the right who's. And this is where you and I were talking about, and you were really digging this. Pretty sure, was that the impact filter?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is basically, Dan Sullivan uses this on every who that he initiates in a conversation to collaborate with.
Okay.
And he said it cuts out a lot of the going back and forth. And it talks about it, he outlines, because how many times do we say, or that we bring in team members or contractors or whatever and say, I've got this idea.
Okay.
And he said, we live in this world where we have a lot of great ideas, but we don't know how to hand it off to the people that need to do the work. And this helps him do that.
Okay. This is a lot like the talent map, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
Okay.
Because I was going to get to your talent map.
Okay.
because I felt like when I heard this, that you had been hitting on this in a different area.
It really is. It really is. Go ahead for the audience. Go through that impact filter. There's criteria.
The criteria is this. What do you want to accomplish?
The purpose.
What is your motivation?
Yeah.
What is the difference this will make?
And this is importance. So you got purpose and importance.
And then what impact will it have?
Yeah. Then you got, this is the critical portion right here, though, that I think that sometimes gets missed. What's the ideal outcome? What does the completed project look like? What is the payoff?
How many times have I gone into projects and not known that?
Yeah, man. That's why I think the talent map or this really generates more thoughtful discussion about what are we optimizing for with this? What are we trying to accomplish?
I've created absolute procedures and products and never asked myself that question.
Yeah. I know, me too, man. Me too. And back to the beginning of the podcast, man, we're just trying to take concepts and issues that we're dealing with personally, real life, real time in our business and give them to you so maybe you can flatten some of the curve and maybe not have some of the same mistakes we had.
Dan Sullivan said that he had to create this because he was hiring people because he was growing so fast, just feeling like he had to hire people.
Yeah.
And he didn't know the outcome that the individual would bring to his organization.
Yeah. One question that I thought was really good was success criteria. What specific results must be true for this project to be a success? Woof. Woof. That's a great one.
Yeah, it is.
You know, we're increasing leads or we're increasing sales or our culture index score is higher or whatever. I don't know what it is, but you're really asking yourself. And then best result, what's possible if you do take action? Worst result, what's at risk if you don't take action? I like that.
I do too, because I very rarely ask myself that.
Yeah.
I just stay in that optimistic role of
overly optimistic.
Yeah.
We over-index on this is going to be successful.
But what if it's not?
What's
it going to cost me?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So then we talk about constraints. And then constraints can be powerful catalysts for innovation and creativity. They explain how setting clear boundaries and limitations can lead to more effective problem solving and can help entrepreneurs identify the best who's to collaborate with. That's crazy. What are your thoughts on that?
Did you see the quote that we put out this week from the overlap from Rick Miller that was talking about culture? And the quote he used in the podcast, and I don't know that I really picked this up in the podcast with Rick. Guardrails, the culture is the guardrails that you wrap around your company to keep it in line with the original idea that you had.
Okay.
Or I'm paraphrasing that in some way. But this, I think, goes to that is, are the who's we're bringing in, does it fit our culture?
Okay. And culture just really is how do we behave?
Yeah.
Let me just look that up. The quote we had, oh goodness, it's gonna be loud. I'm getting off of that.
Yeah, get off of that. It's gonna be loud. But yeah, I'll repost it in the show notes. But okay. I thought that Rick really brought this point to a head when he said that culture is the guardrails that we wrap around our business. That I think he defined it so well, that we wrap around our business that keeps us moving in the direction that we intended.
I like it. And I like pretty much everything Rick says. So
he went to Harvard.
It doesn't even matter, man.
No, I know.
I like the guy.
Yeah.
And he's got culture down.
Yes.
And he's a wise man.
And the reason I bring that up is because constraints can be powerful. So are we stepping outside of the culture the idea that we have for our company?
Yeah.
And I've talked about that a bunch, where EOS really helped me to see I was doing that.
So my thoughts on this is this, right? There is the sun out there, right? There's the sun. We all know it. It's there. It's nice. We get energy from it and all that stuff. But if you take a magnifying glass and focus the sun's energy on a part of the earth, it will set things on fire. Just magnification by focus really takes all of energy and just focuses it in one direction. And that's where real activity happens. That's where real change happens. That's where exponential growth happens. When you try to be everything to everyone, when you try to solve all problems, when the mission creep delves into all kinds of other things just because you think it's a nice idea to do it, you water down your effectiveness. And I think that constraints in that regard really get you focused in one direction, everyone focused in one direction, and really get massive action going, massive change. I like it.
Hey guys, this is Keith. Let me break down a scenario for you. Are you a business owner that is overwhelmed by the options of investing, but you're being told you need to invest in retirement, you need to invest in mutual funds, you need to buy some single stocks? Well, I have your fix. C2 Wealth Strategies, ran by our friend Wes Cody. Their website is c2wealth.com. If you are looking at investing at all and are confused by it, give them a call today. They will be happy to handle whatever you need. He's brought up very specific things that I need to be working on as a business owner in my investing life. Let him do that same thing for you. c2wealth.com or go to the overlaplife.com page and click on sponsors.
Moving right along, you good?
I'm
or you
good.
got one other thing?
I was just going to say that I like what you said about moving, like everyone moving in the same direction, because I feel like I've been in places too in my organization where I feel that we're moving. Have you ever been there? We're moving all different directions.
Yeah, we're not in alignment. You think we're heading this way. I think I'm heading that way. He thinks we're heading this way. It's all generally in the same direction, but it's not cohesive enough to create massive change and create massive results, which is what we're trying to do.
And as the leader, I've had to look at myself in those situations and say, man, I missed clarifying the message.
If there is a miscommunication, it's my fault. It really is my fault. And I can be angry about it. I could be dismissive. I could ignore it. I could do lots of things. But the thing I really got to do is just go, oh, hey, guys, look, I'm recognizing that we're not in complete alignment here. Let's get back on the same page. It's as simple as a same page meeting. It's as simple as clarifying the scorecard, perhaps. It's as simple as maybe we're all tracking the wrong metrics, and that's what's creating misalignment. But no matter what we do, we've got to get some constraints and some, like you said, guardrails to get us going down the same highway, because we're going to get there a hell of a lot faster if we're all rowing in the same direction. Okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And Rick calls that culture.
Hey, I think it's culture. I think it's alignment. I think it's EOS done well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree.
The next thing is the positive ripple effect that occurs when individuals adopt the who, not how mindset. They share, these are the authors again, inspiring stories of individuals who have transformed their lives and businesses by embracing collaboration and leveraging the strengths of others. And these are just success stories in this chapter, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'd say, man, you listener, Keith, me, we've all had some success where we've gotten on teams, or we've created teams, or we've gotten on projects, we've done projects where everyone's rowing in the same direction. If you've played sports and you've gotten on a good team and you had a good run, that good run is because everyone was fighting for each other. Everyone had one singular goal. Everyone did their job for the best of the team, and you created really good results, and you felt great about it. That's really the power of who, not how. That's what team sports taught me, man. And I think soccer was pretty unique in the fact that there's not a lot of coaching on the sideline. You don't stop every 7 seconds and the coach brings in another play. And there's some value there too, because everyone's got to execute that play. But on a soccer field, 11 people for 90 minutes are trying to figure out what the other team's trying to do and create a solution to the problem that they are presenting, and then execute that problem, all talking for 90 minutes and figuring it out with really almost no stop. The ball will go out of bounds, but someone's throwing that in pretty quick, and you don't have time to like create a play or anything or set up some diagrams to go through that. You got about 15 minutes during halftime, and there's a lot of strategy going on there. But essentially, you're watching film and you're figuring it out before the game goes, and then they may do something completely different. They may set up a completely different way. Not to get too into soccer, but I think that's what taught me that, is that the power of getting everyone on the same page, from the goalie to the defender line to the midfield to the forwards. Everyone moving in unison. And when that happens, it's freaking beautiful. It feels effortless and things just work. When it doesn't, it feels chaotic. It feels like we're working against each other, and it feels very difficult. And it's not embarrassing, but it like sucks your energy, and you don't even want to be a part of it. You want to get off the field as quickly as possible because this sucks.
Oh man, the overlaps there are huge.
Huge.
Family, same thing.
Family. When we're on the same
I feel
page.
like we're on the same page, nothing stops us.
Yeah.
But the moment that I don't communicate well,
and start veering off, and it starts getting chaotic, and we're working against each other,
pure misery.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And that happens. It happens. You get off course. You got to get back on same page meaning. Let's remind ourselves what we're working towards. All right. Then the last bit is the joy and fulfillment that come from working in alignment with one's unique abilities and collaborating with the right who's. And then this is where they discuss this approach can lead to greater happiness, success, and meaningful contribution. And that's essentially what we were just talking about too. It really is. It's a powerful thing. This whole
when you're not working. You know when you're not working in your sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm not working in my sweet spot, I know it immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you should never have to work in areas that, owning a business, you're going to have to do things you don't like.
There's lots of jobs that I did that are not in my sweet spot. I did them for as long as I could until I could find someone that could do it. But me doing it allowed me, and this is the dichotomy of all of this, right? We're talking about a concept it's conceptual, and you can take it at different areas and levels of growth in your business, right? But you started, and I'm spiking the football here, just going, look, we're talking about these things, but when you're first starting out, you're going to have to do lots of things that aren't in your sweet spot, lots of things that aren't your unique ability. But as you grow, you got to figure out what those are and start to hand them off to others when and if you can. Is that what you were saying? Right?
Yeah. Dan Sullivan calls it investment.
Yeah, our investments.
He had a consultant come in, and the consultant was looking at and he said, "Man, you're paying a lot for employees." And he said, "No, I'm not. That's an investment."
Yeah.
He was like, I don't look at my team members, one, as employees. We don't call them employees.
That's right.
They're team members. So anything that I do when it comes to salaries or what I pay my people, is that I look at that as an investment in myself. And I think that's a big way to look at when you need to bring a who in, is what investment are you making into yourself that's going to exponentially be greater than the investment you can put alone.
And I've always thought about this, there's a reason that, for the most part, that's the number one or the largest number in your P&L.
Yep.
It's probably your greatest asset.
Yeah.
And God, that sounds hokey. It sounded hokey just coming out of my mouth.
But it made me think about, specifically about the collaborations that I'm doing right now. I can tell you that I've gone in hesitant to a lot of them because I'm having to give away a piece.
Sure.
And so just like hiring team members, it's collaboration.
Yeah, and you're
having to give away.
You're giving away some money. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is an investment.
It's an investment into yourself.
And they should be long-term assets. It should be a long-term collaboration.
Right. And so there's no business that you create that you make money right off the bat. Typically, I'm trying to think. I'm sure there are someone. If you've got ideas on that, man, please give them to. Yeah, please. We'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sid and Keith, for allowing me this opportunity to explain why Pro 356 Consulting is back, again, sponsoring and supporting the Overlap podcast. Number one, I just have found that this is a great podcast, that I share your values of the overlap concept, and I have found just so many great nuggets from listening to you guys. Number two is, I remember when you approached me at Hatch about starting a podcast, and I said, hey, that's why we built that podcasting studio at Coastal, and you guys took it up, and here we are. You've done 100 broadcasts, and now you're on the way to 200. And lastly, I just want to say that I just appreciate the way you guys do business, and I want to associate with you. So Pro 356 is glad to be back as a promoter and sponsor of the Overlap podcast.
We would love to be your sounding board. And possibly
investors.
Yeah.
I've invested in worse things, I can assure you.
Yeah. I can think of something we did together that's pretty bad. Just
what a flaming failure. Oh, goodness. We'll probably have a podcast on that before too long.
Probably should.
Hey, believe it or not, look, I'm telling y'all, we have invested together in a few things, and some of them have worked out, but one was just, we have received zero money. In fact, probably even lost money, more money than we actually put in, if that's even possible. Just to wrap this thing up, some of my notes on here were, like we said at the beginning, is that we always start with how. And most people always start with how. And the reason is because it seems pragmatic and we've got to come up with a plan. And that really generates that entrepreneurial quicksand where you get stuck trying to figure out all the little pieces because you need a very detailed job description. You need exact things that the person does and all of that stuff, right? I'm really generalizing all of this. And I'm not saying that you don't. And here's the dichotomy of everything is that you need a job description and you need scorecards and you need things like that, but you don't need to micromanage the hell out of it and have everything figured out.
If I have to micromanage the who that I hire or that I bring on, they're not the right who.
Not the right who.
If I can't give instruction and the instruction not be followed, it's not the right who.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you give some instruction and then they just can't execute that, or they're like, oh, I'm really unclear about this. And you're like, man, I don't understand how you're unclear. Maybe it's the wrong who. Maybe that's just not the seat that they're supposed to be in.
If you can clarify the message and be confident that your message is to the point and descriptive to the who that you're delegating to.
Yeah.
If you can answer that question and then they still can't get it, is probably, and man, I've been there.
Yeah. I think that's a lower level than what even I want to try to close on this, or I want to try to at least say this at the end of this podcast is that we always start with what, and I get bogged down with detail after detail of what and what's getting executed and what it's going to result in and all that stuff. I think that vision and direction is really our first responsibility. Where are we trying to go? Why are we trying to go in that direction? And then we create a talent map for who does this person look like that can execute these things? And if I find the right who, they've got the idea of how to get us there. I know where I'm trying to go. I know why I'm trying to get there. Finding the right who, that's number one. Finding the right who is number two. And then that who is probably going to have a much better idea on how we get there.
Because that's in their unique ability.
That's just who they are.
Yep.
Not to overuse the word who. The right who's get us there faster and with much less brain damage. If you're thinking about that person at night outside of office hours, you likely have the wrong who, and the who's build trust and require much less management. You just trust them. You can be freed up to go do something else because you know that who is getting the ball down the field in the right direction. There we go.
And then I think you can answer if it's the right who to what we're ending on. If they have an attitude of gratitude while they're doing it.
Yeah, that's what they like to do, but that's for another time.
Yeah.
That's for another time. All right, anything else? Let me brag on, if Keith doesn't have anything else, let me brag on my boy Keith. I had to miss the Atlanta Open Jiu-Jitsu tournament, and Keith went out there and crushed it, y'all. He got a gold medal in his division in the gi. That's when you wear the fancy karate-looking pajamas and you get to choke people with lapels. He got gold in that. Did you compete in the Open?
Did. I got third in that.
Third. Open is when you don't have weight classes.
They were big boys.
Yeah. They're generally big boys that sign up for the Open.
They were
If you
boys.
win in a jiu-jitsu tournament, if you win your division, so that would be your weight class and your belt level, and then if you win that or podium, first, second, or third, then you get the opportunity to sign up for the Open, which you get to fight anyone at any weight class. So got third in that. And then, was it the next day or the same day?
It was the next day.
Next day,
for no gi.
No gi, and no gi is when it's just basically a wrestling match with some submissions.
We can't brag about that. There was no one in my division.
Oh, okay. There you go.
So I got to dress up and put the gold on, but it really was a participation trophy.
I still get to I give Keith I give him a hard time a lot, and this time I'm trying to brag on the guy.
Oh, thanks.
So well done.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you, listeners, for listening. We had some folks shout out that we've made it on their top podcast for the year.
That was pretty awesome.
That was pretty good. Really, that just reminded me that we're doing this for a reason. I started the podcast with that. I'm trying to end it with it, that we do it to try to be helpful, take some of our mistakes, some of our lessons learned, some things that we're actually working on, and get it to you. So hopefully that's beneficial. You're telling friends because we're getting more listeners. Please keep sending podcasts that you find beneficial. Just share them with your friends, like them, comment, give us some reviews. We really appreciate it. And then support our sponsors.
I don't know who's sending love on Apple, but thank you very much. We have like 30 ratings there, and everybody keeps talking about how much they love the podcast on Apple, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm like a love black hole. I can take all the love you give.
That's right.
Go ahead. Give it to me.
Hey, Apple fans, go over to Spotify and do the same thing.
I'm an Apple guy.
I like Spotify.
You do. That's fine. But really, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you for supporting this. You make it possible. If you're listening to this and you like the podcast, you can support us in a couple of different ways. One, by buying the books that we're suggesting, and we got links in our show notes. But then two, use our sponsors. They've got some great services, and like we've said before, we'll say it again, we do not partner with sponsors that we don't have a relationship with, because we don't really want to we don't want to be up here touting those people without having confidence that we're sending you in the right direction. We do take this platform that we've created and the relationship that we've created with you, the listener, with some real reverence, some real responsibility that you're listening to us for some advice, I think, and we don't want to send you the wrong way. We don't want to steer you the wrong way. So these sponsors that we have partnered with, we really believe in. So please utilize them if you have a need.
You're also about to be able to show the love for the podcast that you have on your body.
You can get a tattoo.
You can get a tattoo. If you do that, we'll do something very special for you. But we got T-shirts.
Yeah, I'll probably get a tattoo of the Overlap Podcast logo before you do, listener, but we can share.
That's right. But
the T-shirt would be better.
If you want to tattoo yourself, we'll do something special. So just let us know.
Yeah. It's just not on your neck or face. That'd be weird. But the shirts, they look great. They're on their way. We should have them today or tomorrow.
Yeah. We'll be putting those up, and you can order one through the website. We've got limited sizes on this first run. So get yours quick.
All right. I got to get to another event. Really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
You're about to get to eat Parmesan fries at BurgerFi.
I'm going to BurgerFi for sure. 100%.
Oh, God. I love it. Okay, guys.
All right.
Peace.
Okay, guys, everyone knows if you're a business owner, a business leader, or you're just a person in the world needing help with accounting, you need a real partner. You need someone that's going to listen to you and not just plug numbers in to make their job easy to do your taxes. At least that's what I want. I've been through a lot of accountants in my life, and I have yet to find one even remotely as good as Johnny Baranco. He's the owner of Baranco and Associates, and he's the kind of guy that really doesn't manipulate your books to make his job easier. He really is trying to give you insights into your business or into your financial planning world. Whatever your goals are, he's there to help. And so I just encourage you to give him a call. Baranco and Associates, look him up online. It's barancoandassociates.com and just see if he can help you. He really is the accountant that I recommend to everyone, even before he was a sponsor of the podcast. So please, if you need an accountant, just do yourself a favor and give him a call.